What's up, family? We got Anthony Morell in the combo room today. He is the LinkedIn comment king and lives up to that, might I say, because when I first stumbled on a post of his, I was like, I don't know who this dude is, but we got to be friends. So, literally, my first conversation, almost in real life, but with Anthony, and so glad to have him in the combo room today. Digital marketing guru, and we're gonna see what kind of gems we can get. Anthony, welcome to the combo room.
Oh man, I appreciate the invite. I remember when you reached out and you was like, "Man, I had to be friends with this guy." I was like, "Man, say less." That is that is it for me for real. Just to even speak on a little bit on that little comment king title I've kind of built up to, right? It was so funny because like even before I like originally started posting, like I was always in the comments. And I felt like I just built up my voice before I even started actually producing content just from listening and engaging and watching other people. And that's kind of what I've been doing, man. I'm always in the contents. Sometimes my best content is from comments. So I really, really live there.
You know, I really feel like that's a great jump off point because I feel like in order to be authentic as a content creator, something that I'm really even trying to do, get the reps in and just get out of my head sometimes because
Hmm.
sometimes I find myself thinking, what am I going to post today? What do I want to talk about? And you're so right. Just being in the comments and being tapped into where the conversation is like half the battle. So you're not just talking about honestly things that people just are not interested in.
Yeah, I mean, that's right on point, honestly. Yeah. That type of engagement, it not only gives you inspiration, it gives you content, it gives you like I said previously, like I built up my voice. So I kind of built up the confidence to use my voice to turn into a post, right? Because as you know, obviously with our interaction, my voice is
My voice
literally how I'm
literally.
speaking to you now. There's no difference. I'm just as sarcastic, as funny, as goofy. Um that's my voice. And then I flip that switch of like, all right, now I feel like I have something that I can actually really talk about. You know what I mean?
Mhm. You know, I feel like, for me, finding my voice has been, just something that's been, like, as a musician,
Hmm.
that's my background. It's something so key, like, early on is, like, you might listen to and even mimic some of your heroes, and after a while, you just really develop your own style and your own voice, and so I wonder for you with, like, really even like dialing in and perfecting your own voice. What was it about the like being able to show up as your authentic self? Like, where'd you get that permission from? Because I'm sure sometimes it could just be so easy to feel like, well, I see what this person is doing. I
Yeah.
could kind of rinse and repeat. But like,
Yeah.
what gave you the boldness to just say, hey, I'm just going to be me and whoever likes it, likes it?
Yeah. So, man, that's it's two sides to that. So, like, my journey on LinkedIn, kind of like I said in the comments, was I was observing other people's content. So I was taking in this. I would honestly say this new era of LinkedIn because LinkedIn was not like this before. It was
Uh-huh.
very like post your job update and then I'm bouncing out.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of looked at like almost having a pulse on the new culture of LinkedIn, looking at the different types of content, and then even jumping over that hurdle of like, man, what do I have to say? I had a conversation with someone just recently about this. Like, it's like, because I'm like, what do I have to say that other marketers don't have to say? There are millions of marketers out there, right? We all have this knowledge, but then I was like, well, let's switch it up. Let's bring myself, right? Because everybody's not me, right? Everybody don't have my perspective, my voice, and I feel like that is where that uniqueness comes from, right? And so, man, you said permission. I gave myself the permission.
Yes.
I was like, I mean, I seen other people's content, but I was like, I'm gonna go for it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go for it and put it out there. And over time, it built up as far as like me having that confidence that was like, okay, well, if people engage with it, great. If people don't, then it just doesn't hit for them, right?
Mhm.
I'm not a person that has been trying to like spill all or make everybody like me or like. And you see some of my posts. Some of my posts like will go right at people and challenge them, right?
Mhm,
And that's because of like that's the kind of environment I live in. That's
mhm,
kind of the relationships I have, and so I speak from a place of confidence, but a place of also compassion.
mhm,
Um, and for like for me, like so this confidence you see now, it took some healing, right? It took
mm,
over the last couple of years, it took some healing. So I wouldn't say I'm the same confident Anthony now
mhm.
that I was a couple of years before. And also like, man, I work B2B. I've actually been in-house my entire career. I played the button ups, right? I played the finance bros and I know the lingo, I know how to dress up and do all that, but that wasn't like that was kind of stifling some of my identity. So I was just like, I'm gonna go for it.
Mhm.
And I had to get over the hump of like, oh man, ain't nobody engaging with my stuff or because
Yes.
every I mean, let's be honest, everybody want to see numbers. We do at some point, right? Like,
Mhm. Of course.
not always just validation, but it's just like I want to put my stuff out there and know some it hit for somebody.
Mhm.
And so I was just like, I'm gonna keep going and I'm gonna just keep going because at the end of the day, it is me. So it's not like I'm making something up and I'm expecting somebody to catch on to it.
Mhm. I wanna double click on something you said. You said,
Mhm.
"Person that you are now, that confident person, you're not the same confident person that you were in that previous version, and
Yeah.
it required some healing." Healing from what?
Yeah, man. I've had healing from insecurities. Um I've been in the opposite place where like where I needed a lot of validation.
Mm,
And a lot of that was like the kind of almost like the restructuring of my identity and my faith. So I kind of went on, went on this journey of just like I won't say finding myself, but like finding or refining, my own character, refining my own thoughts, what I believe about myself, and throwing it up against what the Bible says and Jesus says who I am. And so like actually believing that, right? Because like we can repeat those things and they can feel great, but like it switches when you really believe, like I really believe I am who Jesus says I am. Right. And so that's where that was such an identity shift. And then the other side of that is, man, the last 5 years, a lot of people don't know this. In the last 5 years, I've experienced 3 layoffs.
wow. Wow.
3. Like, and I've been at home since that time, but so I've experienced 3 layoffs. Like, you talk about going through some shifting of like my identity. It's not in my work,
Yeah.
especially the last layoff. It was like 7 months or something like that. It was like yeah, it was my toughest one. But there was so much like wrestling with like my performance and I mean my performance from like an identity viewpoint, not necessarily like because I performed well. Still layoffs still happened. Um
Like, look, don't get it confused, okay?
right, like, I ain't out here just being lazy and chilling. Um but I had to wrestle with that. I really did. Like my identity is not in my my title. My identity is not in like a company. Um and so I had to just become so solid on that foundation and thankfully, I found the position I am in now but I feel so free. I'm not like as attached to everything I do as a manager. So
Um, so listening to your story, I really feel like it's so important because I feel like the primary audience that's listening to this, yes, trying to grow the audience of the podcast, but I feel like LinkedIn is the core of where people are discovering. Well, number one, where I've discovered a lot of relationships for the guests this season. But a lot of the audience there, you can't escape it. Like there's so many people who are just in the fight. I was just reading a post from somebody who, I mean, he had some serious notches on his resume, and he was just talking about how the job search was just so tough. And so
yeah.
I just want to be honoring of people who might be listening to this and might be navigating a layoff, might be trying to figure out what they're going to do next. And I'm just imagining you've been consistent on social media and you've had to weather 3 layoffs. Like
Yeah.
what was your like mental space to like not getting your head and just like feel like you were doing everything and spreading yourself thin, but still yet like showing up to apply, still yet figuring out, okay, what am I going to post today? Like, what was your process like? What did you feel like you were just figuring out as you were going, or did you have sort of like a structure or a
Mhm.
method to go about building your network and building your content strategy? I'm just like really interested, like how you weathered those 3 layoffs.
Yeah, so honestly, like I would say that whole thing was a journey. So when I experienced it, it wasn't even me just knowing like a structure or knowing how to handle it. It was like initially there's always like kind of that shock, right? And then I go into like, okay, I gotta apply, I gotta apply, I gotta apply, and then I know for myself, like I was applying so much that I burnt out. I
Mm,
got exhausted of looking for jobs, applying to jobs, and I would get interviews. But even, button up and trying to turn into the perfect person to get the job and things like that it all became so much work, you know. And I remember a switch in this last one was just like, man, I was praying and I had just been praying with my family, my wife, my kids, my boys. I would look at them and I'm just like, oh my goodness, something got something gotta give. But I remember it was like even my wife was just like, but you gotta take care of yourself, right? And I was like, and it was just like the switch. I was like, but how do I take care of myself when all I can think about is getting a job? You know what I
all
mean?
I can,
It's
yes,
so hard.
yeah.
It consumed me.
Hmm.
Like quite honestly, it consumed me. Um, but then I started tapping back into the things I was doing before, when I was working. Okay, so let me get back into my fitness routine. Let me get back and listen to some of the podcasts I listen to about, mental health. Let me get back to doing some journaling. And so what I would do is I started to schedule out when I would job search
Hmm.
instead of just doing it the entire day. I started to plan out when I would network instead of just doing it the entire day because that's when it consumes you. When you just do it
Yeah.
constantly and there's no breakup, I would go to the park with my family. Let me go breathe. Let me go enjoy myself. And that's where that self care, but also that distinction between self and position, right? Because I need to take care of self, right? Of course, I need to get position, but I need to take care of self for even when I get in this position, so I have my identity in check. That I wouldn't have experienced the same thing coming in, becoming super loyal, getting so attached to it, and then things break down again. So it was like I decided to flip that switch of like, okay, I need to have self care. I need to take care of myself. I need to enjoy little moments. Um, because I mean, it's still your life. Your job is not it's not all your life. You know what I mean? You still gotta be you. And so I think that was for me. It was a shift for sure.
Hmm. Before we go, I feel like there has to be a good code switching story. Uh,
Yeah.
that you have. I know there's one in there. Before we start talking about creator economy and all the above, you got it. Because if you had to do the corporate environment, finance, bro, all the above, talk to me about one code switching story that still like comes back to you today, if you have one.
Man, I don't know. Like I can even, I don't think I could give you a specific story, but I don't know how many times I had to have my button ups, the whole fit matching and everything, and like walking into one of those business meetings, walking into like in person. So everything was in person. Then I was going into the office. I was going into that conference room,
Hmm.
right? And no one looked like me, right? And so already in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, let me
Let me do a quick adjustment.
yeah, let me mentally adjust myself
Yeah.
almost pretty much to make them I guess more accepting of me. Um, and I mean it's man, for us, like for people that look like that's another side of performance, right? It becomes exhausting because now I'm not just trying to perform for my job, but I'm also trying to perform for people in this sense that like I'm trying to put on an image
Hmm.
so everyone else is more comfortable with me, where I'm not just coming in and doing what I was hired for. But yeah, all of it. I mean, all of it boils down to image. I mean, I had to, change my language. I wasn't speaking like this. I wasn't talking like how I was talking in the comments. Like none of that was happening.
Yes, yes. So pivoting to the idea of creators, early stage creators who just might be in the fight. I'm gonna read something that you actually posted, and I want to
Man.
know. It's not one of those. It's not. It's not. This is actually something recent. But I'm just thinking about like creators who are like they're in the fight. They're doing the thing. They're like, okay, I'm gonna make the post. I'm gonna schedule it. I'm gonna do my thing. They might not be seeing the numbers. They might be in a spot to where they've just gotta get that traction, get the reps in, find their voice, find their audience.
Yeah.
But you wrote this, and I want to know what inspired it. You said, "Please lean in real quick. Quitting is not an option. Take the vacation." Take some rest time, adjust your lens, go to therapy, drink more water, find community, unsubscribe from the old, subscribe to the new. Do what you need to do, but quitting is not an option. Why did you write that?
And it's a couple reasons. We live in such a culture of like, I just have to get it now. I have to almost like blast myself to get where I want to go. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I believe in hard work in the right way, right? I don't believe in like you having to um, exhaust yourself all the time to get somewhere. I do believe in putting yourself out there and it attracts the right opportunities that align with you. And so it's just like, take the time for yourself because like sometimes we set priority we put priorities on things that aren't actual that as important as we say they are,
Mhm.
right? Like we might feel like, oh man, I'm stressed out. Are you really like, can you adjust something? Can you put something to the next day? Do you have to do it all right now? Like
Mm,
can you put in some breathing time? And I know like for me personally that's what I've been working on and continue to try to move away from is that is some of that anxiety of like I got to do everything today right now,
mm,
right? And
yeah.
that's a lie. That's a lie. It like it technically is like you can reprioritize what needs to be done today. You can reprioritize what can be pushed to the next day. I know even people will probably go against it, be like, "Oh man, he took like I got to do it today." No, like not at the expense of your body or your mental health, right? Because like if you can't take care of yourself today, who says you have it tomorrow, right? Like
I think
always thinking in this like being sustainable.
mm, I want to maybe honor the flip side of that and maybe what you're getting at. And I'll speak from my point of view because I've definitely had that. And if you had another thought to finish there, I wanna, give you the space to finish that. Didn't mean to cut in there.
No,
Uh,
you
so, I think sometimes where I've personally been unhealthily in that space, it has been because I think it's almost like a coping mechanism for, like, knowing that if I let this sit on the back burner too long, I'm gonna procrastinate to the point that I'm gonna be doing it at the last second, and I'm not gonna
yeah,
get it done. Also, I think from an entrepreneurship perspective, I think, especially as an early stage founder or, you got a side hustle and you're really trying to establish, your book of business or what have you, um, there can be this temptation to think that if I don't act now, it's gonna the lead or the opportunity is gonna grow cold and I'm gonna miss my moment. And I feel like, to your point, it's a lie that it doesn't have to be done right now. And perhaps there's something beneath the surface that you can work on, whether it be your systems, your follow up, your
yeah,
the intervals that you choose to to sprint. Sprinting might be communicating and closing. Then you might have a different approach when it comes to making sure that you like measure twice and cut once when it comes to doing the work. So therefore you
yeah,
might not be moving as fast. But I feel like there's something to be said about maybe people who might just be feeling the pinch of even the season that you might have been in before. Like, I mean, I'm looking at my kids, I'm looking at my responsibilities, I'm looking at all this. I'm like, if I don't make it happen, it's not gonna get done. So how do you balance that with that real tension?
Yeah. So I mean, I would say like for me, fortunately, so I have my faith. So I have something to lean on to kind of give me some peace within that tension. I definitely understand like obviously you have everyone has a responsibility, some more than others, and though the weight of those, usually like my weight is like if I'm looking at like my family, that's going to be my biggest weight. Making sure my wife and my boys are taken care of will always be my biggest weight. But at the same time, it's my biggest joy. So like there's this tension of doing, but you also I feel like there has to be some personal discernment in there, right? Because I can't tell each individual person like, hey, you need to take a break, right? That person might not be in that place, right? And then you have another, like you're saying, the founder that's just starting out. They might be grinding to build that foundation, and they might take that break a little bit later, in the next couple of days. But I guess what I'm trying to say at the end of the day is like, don't forget about yourself. Don't lose yourself in it. And I think that's the overall message is like, don't lose yourself in it because you can get so caught up in responsibilities. You can get caught up in your business, your content, whatever you're creating, whatever you're working on, and forget about you,
Yeah.
right? Like you are the driving engine. So if you forget about you, that engine is going to fall apart,
Mhm.
right? So no matter what you put your hands on, if you're not taking care of you, then at some point things start to break up.
100%. At the end of the day, you can't pour from an empty cup. Or,
Right.
as they used to say in the South, you can't squeeze blood out of a turnip. Like, it just ain't gonna happen. So I wanna talk about hooks because my friend, opening line if
Um,
you have a claim to fame, you gonna write that opening line, and that opening line will hook you to where it's like, "I gotta read the rest of this post." Talk to me about the copywriting. Is that a skill you've always had, or did you develop it? What
mhm.
inspired it? Give all the details.
Oh, this now somebody gonna be like, "Oh, I got the recipe." I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Um, so it developed. So just a little backstory. I've always had a kind of a background of creative writing. So I used to dabble a lot in like poetry and some music and just like the realm of the words, playing around with words. I love to just like play with words. Um, but the hooks into my post really became a development from my content. And the thing was, a part of it, it was just like my language, my speech, right? So like if you check this out, that's how I talk. Like that's how I speak, right? Like I speak and I pause.
Mm,
I don't usually speak and just like I'm not I'm not that I don't I usually pause to almost let you know like, hey, I'm about to say something that you need to hear. And then I kind of just developed the format of breaking it up. So really like when I write things out, I write it out full and then I format it to fit that. So sometimes I'll write something a full sentence and I'll break it because
mhm.
I know that's where almost like that cliff is, right?
Mm.
And I say it to myself to make sure I would even I would go for it myself. Um and so it kind of developed and kind of became my staple as far as like my content. I don't know how many people have been like, man, like this dude, like sometimes I don't even want to press C more and I still do it, you
Mhm.
know. But it's always my way of like, hey, hey, come here. I gotta tell
Yeah.
you something. And you
Yeah.
don't know if it's gonna be funny, a song, inspirational, but it's always conversational. I think that's the biggest thing. I try to write conversational because also in comments, I like to have conversation. I like for people to comment and like I speak back and then like relationships build that way. I meet people that way. I interact that way. My goal is always to have some type of conversation versus just like throw the post out there and just let it sit. You know what I mean? So that kind of developed a lot of my style. Just like I want conversation.
Mm. And with that conversation and
Mhm.
engagement, what are you doing with it? Where are you trying to go with it? Like what's your vision for how you show up on social?
Yeah. Man, I think I'm still working that out. Honestly, that vision, because it has developed and honestly, it's been developing fast. Because I've been on, I would say my personal LinkedIn journey probably this last year when I decided to not go back off LinkedIn when I got my job. I was like, I'm gonna stay on, because like I ain't trying to. I need to know people.
In the back pocket.
Just being real, I need to know people. Hey, but like also like just being out there, man, it gives you so much like it broadens your horizons to see what's possible. You know what I mean? Like, cause it like I've been in house a lot, and it's just like seeing people being founders, seeing people freelance, all these side jobs, and like all the creative work, and it's like I do that, but I'm like I've only done it for other companies, right? Um, And so like with those comments though, I've created relationships, right? And so now I've almost built some type of loyalty and community, right? And so like most of the people that comment on my stuff, they come back to comment, right? And then I get seen even more because they're commenting on my stuff. And so now I have exposure to their audience. I don't know how many times like I've commented on something and someone has told me like I connected with this person because I seen Anthony's comment.
Mhm.
So guess
Yeah.
what? I'm looking for the same thing
Mhm.
when people comment on my stuff because now I get some exposure to your audience once you comment,
Mhm.
and I'm able to build those relationships, and I also just want to show myself like I'm a human, like I'm cool, I'm chill, I'm here, you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to do my thing too, um, and also I mean I keep tabs on who I know who comments. I recognize people. You start to recognize faces and voices and
Yeah.
who you can chat with. So yeah.
So, as a creator, do you feel like your goal ultimately is just to build community, or do you feel like ultimately you see some type of business model that exists, whether it's on the side, where you're able to monetize? Like, just curious, because like everybody on social media doesn't have to be a founder and a business owner, but
Right. Yeah.
curious, like, what do you see yourself doing, like in 5 years, 10 years?
Man, I think 5 year. I mean, 5 year, 10 years. Like it probably. I would see it as being. I originally didn't start out thinking that way. Like I said, staying on kind of opened my eyes to the possibilities of the skill set that I have.
Mhm.
And so, community is great, and I have it, and I keep growing that. But a part of community is also providing for your community. So if I have a skill set that I can provide to someone that would help them, like why not do that? You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Especially if I can enjoy it. So like for me, like when I create content, I enjoy it. I fully enjoy it, which is why I can put content out there like almost nonstop because it's fun and it's just me right now,
Mhm.
right? And I talked to a creator recently about this because I was like, is there a switch when you go to monetize that it becomes more pressure than fun, more pressure than
Yeah.
fun. You know what I mean? And so like that would be the only thing, like my hesitation, but like I do see like in the future that it would, I would provide services and monetize it. I mean, I've gotten like look at this opportunity, right? I mean, I've getting I mean, I've gotten opportunities just from being on LinkedIn and chatting and creating those conversations. And now look at you. I'm in a conversation with you just from being present and showing up.
Look, let me be very clear. And I am so grateful that this second iteration of the podcast, like I'm very clear, like to serve creators and all that kind of stuff. But I really wasn't looking at the numbers that you were
Mhm,
doing
mhm.
when I first reached out. It was literally because like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Then after I sent you the invite, I was like, "Oh, you know what? Let me go like actually read up on Anthony, like just like learn more about." I
That's
just
even
know
better.
that you do good content, and I'm looking like this brother is doing numbers. Okay, so let's not downplay. Because LinkedIn is it's a tough cookie to crack. I feel like, and I'm in the fight even myself because like just showing up regularly, you realize like you can post a little something here and there, and then you do a little deep dive, and that might get you some engagement.
Yeah.
But you got to build relationships, to your point, community, comment, like do the thing. And it's clear you have built like you have a friend group on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And that does not happen overnight. That is not easy work. And like I knew one, I was so honored that you said yes to come on because I was like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like there's probably so many people who might feel like they're in that beginning stage to where, you might feel like, yes, you got to put the work in, but it's that daunting feeling sometimes of like, man, I'm posting and nobody is responding. And like in the spirit of that, I wonder what was it like for you early on? Because like now you're talking to other creators feeling like, okay, well, this is fun, but when does it feel like pressure? Like what was it like for you early on, and what did you have to pay attention to? What signals did you get to know like, okay, this is worth me investing my time and continuing to do this? Because I mean, you also were looking at the fact that you were like, look, I'm out here networking to find a job too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That was the first priority.
Yes.
Yes, I would say like early on, man. I like it's funny because like I recently looked at like my like old content. I'm like, man, like my voice is like really, really developed. I wrote like completely different, and it was just like, man, like tumbleweeds. It was
Mm,
tumbleweeds for a while, right? And I just was like, man, I want to stick with it because I also followed other people and connected with other people that were like, I was like, they were developing their voices, and I seen the traction they started to get. Um, but I didn't hang on to like the low impressions or the low likes. What I started to lean into is like, okay, what do I do? What do I do well as a person, right? So like one of my strengths is connecting, right? So let me use my natural flow of connecting. And so like I said earlier, like before I started really posting, I was in the comments. So I was like, let me engage with other people's content first, and so I engaged with their content. And then eventually I felt like I built myself up to create my own posts. And then once I started creating my own posts, sure, it was still low. It was still like, I see all these other people hitting these, tens of thousands and hundreds. And I'm
yes.
like, would I ever get to? It's like, I don't know if that's really possible. but but I was like, I'm gonna keep going. I started having fun with it. It started to become more natural. And you can honestly, if you looked at you can tell that it started to become because like early on, I was still trying to be like more professional, more cookie cutter, more like, well, here's the insight of the day type of
Yes. Yes.
deal.
Yes.
Um, and I was like, man, this is not what that is anymore. And so I decided like, okay, let me bring my voice. Let's be Anthony. I have the freedom to do that. I have the permission to do that. So let's start using it. And then I went into it, man. I went into it and I kept going. I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep going. And then you get all the, stuff popping up, this advice, oh, you post every day, or you gotta like your own post, or you gotta do this, or you gotta do that. And you're just like, man, what if it sounds like so much effort. And at first it was like once I started building up the traction and like getting comments, I was like, because I was replying to every single comment, every
Mm,
single one. And LinkedIn's notifications ain't that great. So they'll be
mhm.
missing stuff. I would literally have my own profile page up and have my post and I would go underneath it. So I took the time to actually look at the
Mm,
comments and to make sure I wasn't missing anything. Because to me, commenting back and doing that engagement created those relationships. And now I see now I'm seeing fruition from it because there are people that follow me for so long, but now inviting me to things, right? They followed me from the beginning, and that was like a year and a half ago, you know? And so I was like, you know, keep going, keep developing, um, let the tumbleweeds roll. You'll get some traction. I mean, even tumbleweeds get traction at some point.
Yes, let the tumbleweeds roll. My gosh. So you mentioned advice people give.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Before I go to the worst advice you probably have seen and that you want to like debunk, let's talk about that conversation you had because I think that was a really good note. You said you were talking to a creator and you were asking the difference between when you're creating and it's just kind of for the love of it and the pressure that might come like once you start monetizing. What insights did you gain from that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, like what they at the core, what they told me was continue to be yourself. Even so they gave me the example of like an NFL player, right? Um, Obviously they started and well, not now, but when back then when you weren't getting played in college football, it's like everything was for the love of the game,
Mm,
and then you put that business aspect in it, and sometimes it switched to your mindset of, you know, now I got to be a manager versus I'm just doing this for fun.
mhm,
And they were telling me is that if you can keep your own pulse on like that natural and fun and sarcastic voice that you have, like don't leave that. Keep that because that is the core of where like obviously where I am and where my voice is. Don't leave that because that actually itself will help you monetize more because that's what's drawing people to you. Don't leave what is drawing people to you just to think you got to go back in a box. So
mhm,
it's almost like a reverse thing, right? Because I'm almost thinking like, oh, well now to monetize it, I gotta kind of image back up a little bit. That's what it feels like. But once again, like that was a lie that crept in my head. I feel like to almost try to put me back in a box. But it's saying like continue to be yourself, like continue to have your voice, and hone in on your voice, hone in on building community and the people around you. Like don't just take it for granted because I have a great community, so use it, right?
mhm. 100%. So we got to talk about terrible advice that just might be floating around. You know, you said that these were lies that crept in and almost destroyed your confidence. What is the worst advice you see floating around, whether it be any social media, for that matter? Because also you do have a background when it comes to digital marketing. So for people who are trying to build and just impact online, what myths do you find that people still believe that you're like, I cannot believe people are giving this advice, or I hope people are not believing what this when they hear this? What would that advice be?
Man, it's probably been echoed, but like just post more. Just posting more. It don't you can post 3 times. You're not gonna get to those impressions that you want just because you just because you're posting more. It's I
Mhm,
mean, you really like you have to know your audience, know your voice. Um, you need to like really lean in to what you are trying to do. What is the purpose for what you're doing? What is the purpose for your voice? So for mine specifically, I decided that one, my faith, my character and everything wrapped up. I'm not somebody that's going to be online ever giving a bad word,
mm,
right? My
mhm,
tongue is not for destroying or pulling anybody down, but it's to pull people up. And so that's why I write some of the content that I write, that is more like inspirational and things like that, is because that was a part of my journey, right?
mhm,
And I know it's a part of a lot of people's journey. We just don't talk about it. And so it kind of gave me that permission or access to be like, say the things that we think, but we don't say. And I see some creators that do that. And I mean, it's great because it's engaging and it's like, it's always relevant, right? And so when someone says just, oh, I just post more, you know, and then you post 2, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times a week, and it's like you're doubling up just to impress a algorithm or or you're chasing a number.
mhm,
Chase your presence. That's what you want to develop. You want to develop a
mm,
presence, not necessarily a number, but a presence. And I feel like that's what has helped me to get to this other side of like beginner to kind of seeing some fruition and traction is because when I'm present, like people notice. People notice when I comment on their stuff, right? People notice when I engage, when I post and do these things. So yeah, I would say chase the presence versus just the numbers or the impressions.
Mhm. I wonder, is there advice that you've received or insights that you gained that you would put in just the category of like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest that had I not known this, I would not have seen the results that I have seen, whether it's on social, you mentioned even as part of your healing journey. Cause I think you can't separate the two, like the
Yeah,
person that you become and then the content that you create. But what's been the best advice that you've received?
man. The best, I would say the best and the most pivotal for me is is directed at mindset. Because I spoke a little bit on like kind of my journey and like the insecurities. And you see it online, like people always talk about like being cringe and things like that, or like, I don't want to post or just that hesitation. Man, if I knew that like being cringe would make me feel so free and make me feel so like
Mm,
myself, I would have done it a long time ago.
wow.
You know, like do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's your voice. It's so interesting that we like get so worried about being cringe or what other people view of us when really it's like how we see ourselves, right?
So true. So true.
That's usually like what it is. It's our own like hesitation or insecurity or like, oh man, like I don't really think that's gonna hit or but like why not? Like why not use your voice? Why not be present? You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
forget the cringe stuff. Like you're just being you. And everyone does not have to accept that.
So for the creators that are being themselves that inspire you, like who are the creators that you're listening to? I'm curious, like who are you following and most inspired by on LinkedIn in general? But like you talked about like podcasts that you listen to, like who are the creators that are in your mix that you're like, if they stop posting, like my world is upside down. I mean, we put it in perspective, but like the people that really are inspiring you right now.
Man, it is honestly it's such a mix. So something like I've intentionally done with my like not even just my community, but like my feed per se,
Hmm.
is diversify it. Because I have obviously like I have a lot of connections with a lot of marketers, but then I also want to be connected to Black creators. Then I
Hmm.
also want to be created to people that you see getting partnerships. I want to see people on my feed that actually give actual insight, right? So I like the personal side, but I do like when people break some things down. So that comes with like diversifying my feed. And man, like, oh, there's one guy. He does this newsletter. I think I want to say it's something about I can't even remember off the top of my head, but it's like from content to commas or something like that. Like
Oh,
brand, I think
Brandon Smithrick, I think is his name.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. I couldn't remember
Uh-huh.
his last name, but him, like I followed him for a while now since I've been on, and like his stuff is just like A1, honestly. Just from like a like and like I believe that like that's him, but like also the knowledge he has that he puts with it, I feel like it's phenomenal. And you see like a creator like that doing it and developing it, and that to me that's inspiring because he's also a Black male. But like seeing Black creators is just different because
Mhm.
of like that whole image thing, right? And so it makes you feel like you have access and you can step into this space.
Correct, yeah.
So he is one. Different. Glenn. I want to say her name is Carteret. Gosh,
Mhm.
I might be butchering names. She gives like she gives some of the best insight I have ever seen. She breaks down algorithms. She breaks down like
Now I gotta
comments,
find out who
engagement.
she is now.
Yeah, she's her name is Glenn. She has like a she has this cool little picture, but but she gives like just great insights on impressions and um when the algorithm changes and just like notifications, just like a kind of almost like a LinkedIn, I don't want to say guru, but almost like a specialist and her stuff is just like
Yes.
really, really good. Um,
I see her
mm,
now. I'm about to hit connect now. All right. You putting me on. Low key, as you were talking, you reminded me, in terms of people that are interesting to follow.
mhm,
I love how you said like it's almost like you have camps of people that you follow for different reasons. And I think that it's something that I'm even trying to do now, like even just curate like the folks that I follow, because initially like it's just easy to follow people that do the same thing that you do. But to your point, it's like you just to understand all aspects for me right now of the creator economy. I'm just like, to your point, I want to know everything about partnerships. I want to know everything from the creator perspective. I also want to know things from the brand perspective. So, like seeing different people that execute and share their insights from these different angles is like super helpful. So yeah, like thank you for putting me on. Glenn calls herself a contentologist. All right.
yeah, there you go.
And shameless plug, later today, actually, I actually have an interview with Brandon's the guy he just signed for some representation, like to work with an agency. And the guy who represents him, he actually is coming on the pod. So I'm like super excited
Wow.
to talk about representation and understand like, hey, when is it a good time to like consider representation? What kind of traction do you need? And you know, all that kind of stuff. So I'm really interested in like double cooking from that conversation. And I wonder from your stage, is there like what questions are you asking that lead you to follow people? Because I feel like sometimes the best insights come from the right questions. And so when you're transitioning from an early stage creator to somebody who's like you've kind of got your voice, you've got a bit of a vision for where you want to go, and you're, you know, taking steps to see those things happen. What questions are you asking? And what content specifically says, I need to learn more about this to you?
Yeah. So I guess when I'm deciding to follow or even connect with someone, I am looking at their content, right? I obviously want to see personal content. And then I probably scroll a bit further than most people would as far as going through people's content. And then I look at comments. If they have newsletters, I'll look at it. I'll look at any type of media they may be already producing. Um, and I'll dig in it. Now, like you said, very natural to connect with somebody that's kind of in your space. Digital marketing obviously is a huge space, so that opens the doors to a lot. Um, I know, like in my current position, as far as like my 9 to 5, I do like social, but I also do like email and automation. So, in the back of my mind, I always have also like people that are more engaged as far as the automation side, because that's a side that I don't talk about a lot, but like I actually have like developed and learned a lot about that I actually kind of nerd out on.
Mm,
And so like I'll follow people that I don't know, HubSpot specialists, Salesforce specialists, um, people that might have automation in their, in their taglines and their skills and things like that. But then I also look at people that post, that personal content. Are they funny? Would I work with them? Because I need the feed to be broken up, right? Like I need
yeah.
I'm at work and I'm on LinkedIn for my job and for myself. So it's like I want my feed to be kind of broken up. So I want somebody that I can like feel like I would work with almost. So I do look for that person that's funny, but also on the other side is like, what can I learn from this person? Right? Do I see this? Do they give me any kind of aspiration? You know what I mean? Do they pull something out of me that might be there that I haven't tapped into yet? Um, and so I look at that. Obviously, I look at our headlines and things like that, but I try to dig a bit deeper just to see where I could actually learn and grow. And sometimes that comes with positions. Sometimes that comes with just like their interactions with others as far as like comments or who's in their audience. There's been some people that I've done some deep dives with to be like, oh man, like I know this person like I could aspire to do the type of media that this person does. And
Mm.
so, yeah, so that's just kind of the things I look for when I connect with people.
So, final
So,
question. I
final
want to talk
question. I
about
want to talk
legacy.
about legacy.
What
What
if you
if you
could just be an
could
old
be an old
man,
man?
gray? Ah! I got more grays than you. I don't know what
Mine
that
just started coming in.
low key. I'm not mad at the grays. I just need more of them, so they will just balance out. It's the
Right. So it's
sporadic
not
nature
sprinkled.
of it. Yes, like I'm like we need some more. But I'm curious. It's clear you're a man of faith. You're a family man, and I feel like there are just certain things that maybe in the back of your mind, you're like, at the end of my days, if this happens, if my kids say this about me, if my wife says this about me, I know I'm good. I know I did the thing. What is it that you want your legacy to be?
Man, as soon as you said that, I wanted to be I moved the room. I
Mm,
moved the room. So
mhm.
I spoke a little bit on like presence. I want to develop a presence or be the type of man that if I walk in the room, things shift the right way. Things change the right way.
I'm
If
on.
that's the type of man I want to be. So if my boys could be like, oh yeah, I can see how dad came in the room and served somebody, or dad came in the room and picked somebody up or encouraged somebody, or he just did something that other people wouldn't do because of who he is, like that would be everything to me because I would hope that they would do that as well, right? As far as like setting the example and everything. And that's what my honestly that goes right back to like my presence on LinkedIn. Like it's it's positive. Like and it's more than that. It's positive, but it's faith and it's healing and it's I'm rooting for you and it's like let's do this and it's just like I build on everything, like I said, in my journey, and just kind of being transparent and putting it out there as content, honestly. So that's what I would want it to be. I come in a room, you hear my voice,
100%.
things change.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll close on this and just say that number one, you came in the combo room today and you moved the room. I am so honored that you're here. It's great to have number one, somebody who sees and understands life from your vantage point, and it's a bonus if you've got representation and somebody who looks like you and you can identify with that. Above that, then to have somebody who shares a faith walk and is unapologetic about that, that is like the so many boxes were checked. But then I think above that, there's this alignment that is just so important to where you feel like you're not the only one and you're
Oh yeah.
like finding your tribe. And so I think as people listen, as they watch this, I hope they are just as moved as I am. And whether you're listening in a car, whether you're watching on YouTube, or you just happen to scroll on LinkedIn or wherever and find this, like, I really hope that you are moved, number one, to be fearless and bold. Give yourself permission to be who you are, as we talked about earlier in this call. But after you do that, take the time to take care of yourself. I think those are some of the two anchors of this conversation, because I think your testimony of healing that you were able to just have through weathering 3 layoffs. I mean, my guy, like
Yeah.
that is a testimony in and of itself, and the evidence of you doing the work. I mean, it's just evident in hearing how you tell your story, and chief among the way you tell your story and how you show up with not choosing low hanging fruit, even with the idea of like how you can be effortlessly sarcastic, but you're not going to use it to tear anybody down.
Right. Yeah.
You're going to be a builder, and you're investing in people and sharing your story to build other people up. Like, I think it's just such a pleasure to have you on the pod today, and I wish you nothing but the best. I'm gonna be following you. I'll be in the comments, and if people want to find you other than on LinkedIn, where can they find you just to consume all things Anthony Morell?
I mean, honestly, right now, bro, I'm just on LinkedIn. Like I've kind of invested in that channel itself. But yeah, I mean, follow, connect, reach out. I'm here. I'll chat, you know. And Mark, man, I just want to say I appreciate you for the invite. This has been great. It's been great to be able to talk and answer questions and just kind of talk about my journey and be transparent, man. I appreciate you, not just for the invite, but as a creator yourself, as a man, as a, you know, a figure, speaking some of the same things, right? Like you were saying, that alignment. So I just want to say thank you and give you your flowers too for what you're doing right now on your podcast with the Combo Room. Cause I already see you got some guys, some other guys on here that have spoken and coming. Eric, I know Eric is coming. Hey man, Eric connected a while ago, so
Yes.
it's gonna be great.
Man, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And look, y'all, this conversation, we probably could talk for so much longer, but it's
Yep.
only an hour show, okay? So look, we probably in a little while we'll do a little round two, catch up with Anthony, hear about all the things, because I'm as churchy as they come. So I gotta be me. I already know, like, there is opportunity and there are open doors on the way. And we just stand in agreement with you right now for every opportunity that has your name on it, that people who might be passively looking at what you're doing and want to align with it, that they will activate, send that DM, send that message, and that those who you are pitching to, that they will hear and see the alignment, and that the opportunities, they would make sense, and that they would be effortless almost. And I just speak that and release that over you even before we go. And I cannot
Appreciate that, man.
wait for a round two, to where we talk about your journey as you start to see some of the things that you're working toward, man. And until then, have a great one, bro.
All right, see you, man. I appreciate you.